Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abu Marwan bin Abu Zaki with matric number of 2221579, and today my groupmate and I will present about our group title called IIUM Clinic Appointment Application System. This document is solely to provide information regarding it, which includes the overall process of it. It portrays the documentation of the project that includes various features such as the system's characteristics, functionality, design, and implementation. This is to ensure the development of the system is aligned with the requirements as well as the satisfaction of the stakeholders. In addition, the process documentation for the project that describes the software development life cycle, in short SDLC, for the clinic appointment system is also included in this document. It keeps track of the development progress throughout all of the life cycle from the early phase such as the planning, analysis, and design until the final phases like development and testing phase. So for the project scope, IIUM Clinic Appointments Application System is a software that we aim to develop and implement. It is a website that allows the user, primarily the student, to book an appointment with the doctor to resolve their respective medical issues. This software is built with a pure intention of solving the existing inefficient system such as manual appointment, which leads to inconsistent doctor and consultation management, as well as overall safety concern of all the parties involved. And the objective of this project is to improve the doctor appointment process, which saves a lot of users' time by directly booking appointment from the website. In addition, this will ensure the safety of the user by reducing the contact time with the others who are potentially carrying a spreadable disease. More importantly, we are able to achieve our goal of developing a system that aligns with Sustainable Development Goal SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. All in all, by providing better solution, we will witness an improved appointment process as well as consistent doctor arrangement that will lead to overall better management. So the stakeholders that are involved is the three main stakeholders, which is the users, staff, and admin. And the tools that we use primarily are Draw.io, Figma, and Wireframe. This allows us to do the use case diagram, context diagram, activity diagram, GUI, and prototyping. So let's move on to the use case specification for the user registration. So we see the precondition. The user has accessed the clinic appointment system and the user is not already registered in the system. So we begin with the basic flow. Step 1. The use case specification begins when the user is in the registration page and the system prompts a registration form with fields for essential information such as name, email, password. This is where the first alternative flow comes in, where the user has already registered an account. So for the second step, the user fills in the required information and the system performs validation checks on the provided information, ensuring the email format is valid and the password meets the security requirement. And then the user submits the registration form where the system successfully creates a new user account. This is where the exception flow 1 comes in, which is the invalid format. And then the system will send a successful registration message and users will be redirected to a login page. And the user's use case specification ends when the user is directed to login page. So here are the exception flow, invalid format. This is where the user input invalid information and then the system displays errors in the provided information. And the user is prompted to put valid information. And as for alternate flow, this is where the user has a registered account, where user click already have account button, and then the system redirect user to login page, and the user redirected to the login page. So let's go to the test case for the registration. So this is where the step comes in, where the first step is access registration page where there's nothing else to do, and the expected result will be the user should be able to access the registration page. And then the user fills in the registration form where the test data included are the important credentials such as the name, email, and password. And the expected result is the registration form is submitted without errors. And then the user are able to verify the registration successfully, where the system confirms the message is displayed and the user is redirected to login page. And the second test case is where the user managed to access a registration page way easier. So for example, the user access registration page and the registration form is filled without errors and the user can submit the form. And then the user verify registration success. This is where the system will check if the confirmation message for successful registration is displayed and verify if the user is redirected to the login page. And then expected result, a confirmation message for successful registration is displayed, and the user is redirected to the login page. And then the attempt login with registered credential, where the test data included the registered email and password to log in. And then the user can successfully log in using the registered credentials. And last but not least, the user managed to access the registration page, where the registration form is filled with the errors and the user can submit the form. So let's move on to the graphic user face interface for the register. So as you can see here, this figure shows the design where the user registered an account in order to log in to the clinic website. The user is required to insert their credentials as shown in placeholder 1. Once the user is satisfied, they can create the account by clicking Create Account button, which the system will bring them to the login interface. The design is created for a simpler use, where it only includes text fields and important information such as the headers and the Create Account button. So let's move on to the prototype. So this is the prototype for the user registration. This is where we implement the coding as well as putting a little bit of color design. So as you can see here, the color scheme matches our IIUM clinic websites, or the building in fact. So as you can see here, these are the primary credentials for the user to key in. The design is simple and straightforward and is made by using our system's color theme. The text field is marked gray as an indicator for the place to put the credentials. That's all for me. I'll be pass on the presentation to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syahmi MAHADZIR, number metric 2221443, and I'm going to present about our use case for login. Firstly, the use case specification. The precondition for the use case is the user must have valid account. The system must be in operational. For our basic flow, for the first step, the user navigate to the login page. The system will prompt the field for username and password. We have an alternate flow, that is forgotten password for this step. For the second step, the user enter a valid username and password. System check for validation, and this will prompt out in exception flow for invalid credential if there are error. For the third step, the user submit the registration form. System navigate the user to the doctor browsing interface, the page. For our fourth step, use case end when the user successfully log in to the browsing interface. For our alternative flow, forgotten password. For the first step, user click the forgotten button, password button. System prompt the user to enter email associated with the account. Second step, the user will receive the password reset link via an email. The third step, user follow the link to reset the password, and the fourth step, it will return to the second step, which is re-enter the valid username and password. For our exception flow, invalid credential. For the first step, the system will display an error message, and then the user is prompted to re-enter the correct credential. For the post condition, the user is either successful login or informed that the reason for their login failure. Second, system resource are free up. For our GUI design for login interface, the figure here shown that the user is required to input their credential in the placeholder for 1 and 2. Should the user forgotten their password, they are able to click the forgotten password button, follow the necessary process to recover it. In addition, the user are able to click the new user button to register themselves into the database. All in all, it is a simple and straightforward design for the user to understand. For our prototype for login, in the figure, there are two inputs such as username and password. These are the information for the user to key in to log in. The design is simple, straightforward, and made by using our system color theme. The text field is marked gray as indicator for the place to input the information. There are three buttons: forgotten password, such as the user forgot their password; new user will lead to registration; login will confirm the input, and user will redirect it to the dashboard. For our test case for login, we want to validate the login with a valid email and passwords. The precondition for this test case is user already have an account. Okay, for the first step, access the login page. We given them a login page link, and expect that the login page is accessible. And yes, the actual result that the login page is accessible. For our second step, enter a valid email. We given an email, and expect an email can be answered. And as we can see, the user enter a valid email. For the third step, enter a valid password. We're given a password, and we want the user to enter a valid password. Therefore, actual result, the user enter a valid password. For the fourth step, verify successful login. User receive a successful login confirmation, and yes, the user receive a successful login confirmations. For the fifth step, click on the login button. User is directed to the dashboard, and yes, the user is directed to the dashboard for the results. Post condition, the user successful login to the application. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afiq bin Abdul Latif, metric number 222X641, and I will present about the case specification for browsing doctors. So we will start with the preconditions for the use case. The number one is the patient must be logged into the system. Number two, the patient has navigated to the page for scheduling an appointment. So the basic flow for this use case is, number one, the use case specification begin when the user logs in, and the system displays list of available doctors for appointments. This will unlock an alternative flow, which is the contact doctors. Step number two is the user clicks the get appointment button, and the system navigates user to appointment detail page. This will unlock the exception flow of doctor unavailable. Step number three is the use case specification and when user navigates to appointment detail page. And now I will explain about alternate flow, which is the contact doctor. Step number one is the system gives user the doctor's office number. Step number two, the user receives the doctor's office number. And number three, the flow will return to the basic flow, step one. For the exception flow, if there is an unavailable doctor, the system display the doctor is not available message. And step number two is the user is prompted to choose different doctors. Post conditions for this use case is the patient has selected a doctor for the appointment. The selected doctor's schedule may be updated based on the patient's choice. The system is ready to proceed with the appointment scheduling. Next, I will show you about the GUI design for choosing doctors. So the figure above portrays the GUI design, where the users can see the list of available doctors. The users are able to contact the doctor via the contact button, as shown in the placeholder 1. Next, the user can book an appointment via the get appointment button on placeholder 2. The user can also view the information of the doctor as viewed on placeholder 3 and placeholder 4. The information and buttons are placed accordingly to ensure consistency for the users. Next is my prototyping design for choosing doctor's page. In the figure above, there are many options of doctor displayed with the information and related to their medical expertise. 2 buttons are there for each doctor. The left is the contact button and the right is the get appointment button. The contact button is can be chosen to contact the doctor, and the get appointment button will proceed the page to the appointment page. And you can see the information of the doctors on placeholder 3 and 4 previously. Next, I will explain about test case for choosing doctors. The preconditions for this test case is that the user has already input valid email and successfully choose the valid time of appointment and the available doctor. So for step number 1, we choose available doctors in the list of doctor page, and the result will be the list of doctor for the available doctor is displayed. Step number 2 is click the get appointment button for the selected doctor, and the result will be the user shall be directed to making appointment page and the selected doctor is chosen. Step number 3, proceed to the confirmation page, And the result will be the user shall be able to receive an email containing the details of appointment, including the selected doctor. So the post conditions for the test case is the users will be successfully selected their chosen doctors, and the users can proceed to the appointment page after the choosing doctors is done. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad DANISH HAKIMI bin NUAR. Number metric is 2224997. I am from section 1, CSCI 1305. So for my parts, I'm going to explain about the appointment detail. This is the use case specification for appointment detail. So the basic flow is the use case specification begins when the user is navigated to the appointment detail page. So the system will display a calendar or list of available dates for scheduling an appointment with the chosen doctor. So the assumption is an unavailable date. The user clicks on specific date from the available option. System will display the available session, which is morning and or evening for the selected date. And the user choose either the morning or the evening for the appointment. So the use case with specification ends when the user confirms appointment detail. So for the exception flow is unavailable date. So the system will display date availability. User will go back to the date selection step or choose a different date range. And the exception flow 2 is unavailable session. The system will display session unavailability, and the user will go back to the session selection step or choose a different session. So the post condition is patient has selected a specific date and session for the appointment, and the appointment details are recorded in the system for further processing. So this is the prototype for the appointment detail. So in here, we can see the prototype student can see the doctor information in terms of name, specialty, interest, and procedure performed. In addition, the student are also shown the doctor availability in terms of daily operation and days the doctor is available, whether it be in morning or evening. So in this prototype, you can see there is the AM and PM option. So the students can choose whether they want to make an appointment for the morning or evening. And in this calendar, you can see the available of the doctor. So the green one is the available dates for the student to make an appointment, and the red is the one that has been booked. And so for the blue one, the selected one for the to make an appointment. So the if the user cannot book the available time, the unavailable message will pop up on top of this. So the students need to make another appointment. Okay, this is the test case for the appointment detail. In this test case, you can see that the user will navigate to the appointment schedule section, and the user is on will see the scheduling page. On that page, we can select a valid date and a valid time slot. For example, date 10 January 2024, and then the time is 2:30 p.m. After that, the user can choose a doctor, for example, Dr. Amri, and they will confirm the appointment. So for the post condition is appointment is scheduled successfully. After that, this is for the test case for unavailable time slot. So the user will see the unavailable time slot pop-up display, and then it will verify pop-up content, so the unavailability reason, and then the test step is to close the pop-up, and then check for real-time updates, and the user will start to make a new appointment, start reservation for January 7 and 2004, and then set the time for 3 p.m. And then for the post condition, the system will handle unavailable slots appropriately, and the user is informed of the unavailability. Adjustment may be made based on specific system requirement and functionalities. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. I'm Yusuf Adam. My material number is 2115185. I'm from Group B, and I would like to present about the confirmation for IIUM Clinic Appointment Application System. And firstly, I would like to start with the use case specification for confirmation page. The use case name here is the registration and the ID is UC004, and the post condition for this use case is the patient has successfully selected the date, session, and the other appointment details. And the second post condition is the patient is on the confirmation page after completing the appointment details selection. Continuing here with the basic flow, we have three tables, which is step, user action, and system action. Sorry. The first step, the use case specification begin when the user is navigated to confirmation page, and the system reply. System presented the confirmation page displaying the selected appointment details. And the second step is the user clicked on the button, on the confirm appointment button, and the system reply. System record the appointment as confirmed. The last step is the use case specification end when the user receives the confirmation message. Continuing here with the confirmation page, here is the figure. It displays the information of the doctor, their medical expected date and the time and contact and location of the appointment. The two buttons here, the blue one is for confirmation, and the red one is for cancellation. And the last part here I would like to present it is the use case test. The test use case for confirm appointment. We have the title here is validating the appointment confirmation, and the module name is doctor appointment confirmation. And we have here the step test steps and test date and expected result and the actual result and the status here, as you can see here. So the step here, the first one is confirm appointment, and goes back to main page, and post condition is user successfully book appointment with the doctor, and the second post condition is the system will update the user's health record. And we have also here the second test case, and the post condition for the second test case is user successfully booked appointment with the doctor, and the system will update the user health record as well. Thank you. That's all from me.